All right, so very good question. Who's going to replace Joe Biden? All right. Well, one would think it's the vice president who's significantly younger, right? Kamala Harris. I get the sense if you threw her in the polls, and I know these polls are out there, but I didn't have them ready. It's not looking good for Kamala Harris, and I don't know. Maybe this is the reason why. Let's go to A5. This is Kamala Harris. She thinks this is going to work.
I don't even have to put on my headphones because I know it'll just be her laughing.
Have you seen
right?
it?
The cackle.
No, put your headphones on. You have to watch this. It is so insane. I'm sorry, Andrew.
No, Taraji. Now, you know I wouldn't do that, especially not to a fellow bison. The real HU? You know. So what's on your mind?
Oh, Madam VP Harris, I'm worried about the election. Women's reproductive rights are on the line. Our Supreme Court is on the line. Our basic freedoms are being tested, Madam VP. I know you've been traveling across the country. What are you hearing?
Yeah, girl, I'm out here in these streets. And let me tell you, you're right, Taraji. There is so much at stake in this moment. The majority of us believe in freedom and equality. But these extremists, as they say, they're not like us.
They not.
There's a full-on attack on our fundamental freedoms. The freedom to vote.
Yep.
The freedom to love who you love. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom for a woman to make decisions about her own body, not having her government tell her what to do. No,
My
Taraji,
cute friend, I won't mention her name on here, would go, see, it's all a show. This is all planned. That thing is so phony. It's insane that was approved by the White House.
That's why,
or Biden campaign.
That's why her polling numbers are so abysmally terrible. It's why no one is taking her seriously as a replacement because she would somehow. It's shocking that they have a candidate who would be worse than Biden.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna make a note that she's so bad. I've never even seen a poll with her name on it because the polling firms don't think there's even a chance, 1% chance.
Right.
She'll be the replacement.
Yeah, there's that scene in the first Anchorman, which is way better than the sequel, right? Where it's like, even the guy who can't think says something.
Yes.
That's what they think of Kamala.
Yeah, right.
It's that like, well, we clearly cannot have her be the public brand or the representative of the Democratic Party because we will not win any independent voters, any swing states. So obviously it's not her. The pros and cons of you've got.
By the way, she's also in the delusion. She's the one also saying he's sharp. Nothing's wrong with Biden. She's part of the delusion, and I think that's going to come back and haunt.
So yeah, I don't
candidates.
Let's be very clear. I don't think anyone in the Democratic Party actually believes that they're lying, right? They don't actually believe that deep down.
Can we just say that they're lying?
Yes.
They're full of shit.
Well, they don't actually.
And by the way, I'm just going to play it fair, okay? I think the Republican Party would do the same damn thing.
Yes. So
I think the Uniparty would do the same thing.
Why the GOP
if
establishment?
they were in this situation. The nice thing is, at least there's a bunch of us in new media, because in this show, we would call this shit out, right? We would call that stuff out.
Yeah. Why the Republican establishment hates Trump is the same reason that the DNC behind the scenes has really embraced Biden is because they can control him.
I see.
They're just telling
this is where
him.
I'm gonna push back.
Well,
I almost think they are controlling Trump these days.
No,
you don't think so, Drew? You consider yourself a Trump Republican, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think he's being controlled. I think he's just being a little smarter in the way he's going about communicating. But I wouldn't say he's controlled at all, personally.
Well, I think this is why the establishment hates Trump is because this is my opinion. Maybe you guys don't agree with me on this, but I don't think Trump has principles. I don't think he's the, principled constitutional conservative. I think he's a populist. He thinks every issue is isolated from every other issue. He doesn't start necessarily with the Constitution or whatever as this is how I make decisions, right? He does whatever he thinks will be best on any particular issue. That will drive people in the GOP establishment crazy because they more so want power than anything.
Right.
They don't necessarily have principles that are rooted in the Constitution as much as their principle is we need to stay in power. But Trump doesn't really care about that. So they hate him because they can't control him for the same reason that the DNC has embraced Biden because they can control him. So I agree with you, Jake, that the GOP would do the same thing.
Yeah.
They would. They absolutely
Yeah, because
would.
it's the same thing. It's a uniparty. When you get to that level, I mean, obviously, you get to Drew's level. He's a Republican-endorsed candidate, Senate District 58, or House District 58A?
B.
B. I mean, I don't know your BPOU, but I bet some pretty good people there. Generally, when you get down to the lower levels of the Republican Party, great people. You get to the top echelon, they're the same damn people. Go ahead, Andrew.
And we have our first Rumble rant from Qual for Life, $20, keeping the streak alive. Cheers.
You know, I think it's K-Wall for life. but
K-Wall?
have I
I
said
don't
it
know.
wrong this whole time. Well, yeah,
K-Wall?
it's
I don't
gotta be
know.
because his wife is T-Wall, so then it'd be Twall. I don't think it's Qual and Twall.
Thank you for the correction.
I
apologize.
I may be wrong.
I apologize, K-Wall.
I got these. I got these two kids on my baseball team. I'm coaching third grade baseball, and one is Colin with a U, and the other one's Colin with an O. And I literally last night, because every time I say their name, and I can't tell you how many times this really becomes an issue. Batting order, who's going to which base? They're always like, "Wait, which one is it?" And I go, "Stop! Everyone, stop! Come in here!" And I go, "Colin, say your name." And he says it. The other one says his name. I'm like, I've been saying that right this whole time, have I not? And I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Apparently I missed it. The kids thought I was saying it wrong. So I'm not great with the English language. You're right, Jake. No worries. Oh, thank God I am good with the English. All right. And we're both watching T-Wall says. We got the best audience on the planet. I love these guys. They're the ones that make the show. I would be so bad.
Or maybe they're just lying and trying to make this less awkward.
This is on the Biden here. They're keeping the delusion going. I'm just
Jake is very mentally sharp, and everyone's just so impressed with how sharp he still is at this age.
You should just see Dawson have to escort him off the stage
Yeah.
at the end of this.
Yeah.
You should
That's
see
the
what
worst. Did you guys see this after? Because we were watching.
No.
CNN, we
This
kept
was
it on.
after the camera
After the
stopped.
debate.
After the whole thing, it was someone
With a phone.
It was someone with a phone recording.
No,
like,
it was on CNN's cast. We had CNN on. We watched the whole thing on CNN. It was so awkward. They didn't know how to exit out and go to their panel discussion, and you could watch Jill escorting this man who literally just said to Trump, "I'll golf you if you carry your own bags," and then you watch Jill help him on a 4-inch step.
and very gingerly too.
Very gingerly. That
Like,
was a nice way
very,
to put it.
very slow. Which, to be fair, not going to make fun of older people that are physically getting slower because that happens when you get older. But that just put the cherry on top of okay, this guy is not capable of forming coherent sentences.
Right.
I actually did not watch the debate live. I was at a rodeo that night that we sponsored.
America.
So I was watching a rodeo live in South Dakota. I saw the clips afterward posted on X, and I'm watching kind of some of the sound bites. It was awkward.
Yeah.
I had this cringe feeling that watching Biden struggle to string together subject verb sentences that sentence A had anything to do with sentence B. The last time I felt that awkward was on the Office episode of Scott's Tots, if you remember that.
Oh,
where-
that is such a great episode.
where,
I just saw that recently.
Yeah, where Michael promises this whole elementary school, I will pay for all your college.
Yeah.
When you get to college age, and then they eventually become seniors in high school, and he realizes he has $40 saved up, and so he doesn't even have money to buy them laptops, and so he gets them batteries for laptops. And the whole episode is so cringe because they set up this press conference and invite the media to see Michael give them the checks to pay for their college tuition, and it turns out he doesn't have any money. And I've never felt more awkward watching what's clearly a fake TV. It's not real, right?
Right.
It's just a sitcom, but you have this emotional oh man, I have to turn this off. This is so awkward watching this. That's how I felt watching Joe Biden in this debate. It transcends politics is what I'm saying. He clearly is not mentally fit to be a candidate for president of the United States, and we need to stop this because it's shameful.
It's shameful. It's elder abuse, as someone put in the
Yeah.
comment section. Go ahead,
So,
Andrew.
I actually think the only thing worse than when Biden was giving rebuttals and answers was when it was a split screen and you were just watching him when Trump was
Yeah.
talking, where his jaw just hangs open.
Yeah.
It'd be if I ever once I looked at Dawson I mean, it was just awkward.
And
I mean,
I will add too some context for people who don't know me. I'm not a MAGA Trump supporter. When Trump ran previously, I did not vote for Trump. I actually voted Libertarian in a swing state where my vote actually sort of mattered. So I'm not coming at this of making fun of Biden because I'm just on the Trump train. I think as an objective just observer of this, you can't look at this and think this is okay, that Joe Biden is actually making these decisions. That doesn't mean that Trump is a genius, but like clearly Joe Biden should not be running for president of the United States. So the question becomes like, who is it going to be?
Okay, so this is where we go. Boy, it's kind of interesting having two brothers in. It's hard to get a word in, Drew, isn't it?
It's all good.
I eventually want to talk about your house race here. So imagine what it's like for Thanksgiving. Everybody in your family like-minded, or
Oh no, there's very real debates at Thanksgiving about like anarchism versus minarchism. So,
okay, that's like my household. Yeah, like
that's like the scope.
When
Yeah.
like in 2012, some of my family was coalescing behind probably not Romney, but one of the other candidates, and I was like the Ron Paul. That was the big argument in our household, right? Not like we got the Democrats in the household. Not a chance. All right, so what I thought, do we all agree here on this panel? It's not really a panel, it's a hang, right? Do we all agree that they are going to replace Biden and the replacement is going to be at the convention? Do we agree on that?
I do.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I don't know
agree.
if I agree as much as it's absolutely possible. I think there's still a very real chance that Biden is the candidate.
I mean, I hope you're right, but
I mean, I don't know if I hope, okay? Because if they get away with that, that seems pretty scary that they could pull that off.
well,
right?
if Biden is the candidate, the
then he
real
wins.
story isn't who's president or who wins. It's real like what'll that do to all the down ballot races? Because
yeah,
they'll
well,
just
that'll
be-
probably be good for the down ballot races, but it's like
right.
the fact that they could pull that off would be interesting. So if they go to this convention and do this, my thinking, and it's been like this for a while, it's Big Mike. Now, I actually believe Michelle is a woman, okay? But I think it's Michelle Obama. And the reason I've had that viewpoint is you've got very little runway to actually get a name ID on someone. So we see Gavin Newsom, we see Gretchen Whitmer. I mean, Gretchen Whitmer's name's less than Gavin Newsom, and Gavin Newsom, you kind of have to be paying attention to politics. They don't know who, the average voter doesn't know who the hell these people are, right? So now all of a sudden you got to spend 2.5 months getting that name ID to that level. Like, Trump is ridiculously known. Like, he is probably the most famous person on the planet, which is insane to think about it. You know who's probably second to him? Obama.
Yeah.
The name Obama.
Yep.
Michelle is very likable. She checks the box. She's black. She's trans. I mean, she's a woman. So she checks their identity politics box. What do you got, Andrew?
that bulge says otherwise, Jake, says Tucker.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen the video.
I just really wanted to read that comment, so
Of course,
thank you.
Tucker. I think Tucker's deep in that one. So she checks identity polity box. She is got the name ID. The likability is high.
Yeah, for sure.
By the way, I'm going to come back to likability in a second. The other thing is, it's the Biden-Obama infrastructure, right? Like, if you bring in Hillary Clinton, which was kind of a speculation for a while, I can't believe she got a new book. Who the fuck is going to read that book? Like, what do you have to offer anymore? But anyhow, it can't be Hillary. The Clinton people are different than the Obama people.
Who reads any politician's books? I remember
I got
when
Ron Paul's book somewhere up there.
Okay, I will admit I read Ron Paul's books because
Yeah.
there's actually like libertarian theory in his
Yes.
books. But most politicians' books are just a chapter about foreign policy, a chapter about immigration, a chapter about, and they clearly didn't write it. Ghostwriters are writing all this. I bought Rand Paul's book when Rand Paul's book came out, 10 years ago. And I even posted on Facebook, like, I'm not going to read this. I just want to boost his book sale numbers, but I'm not actually going to waste my life reading this book that was written by a ghostwriter.
By the way,
you
that
know?
was my first transaction with Bitcoin, was given to his 2016 campaign with Bitcoin.
That was a big mistake.
Well, I mean, I probably only donated like $50 or something.
It's probably
like
worth
that.
like $1 billion now, that $50. Yeah.
Probably is. Well, I mean, it's not my only Bitcoin, so I mean, but I remember, in fact, to this day, that might be the only transaction I've ever done in Bitcoin. You know, I was a buy and hold guy. So anyhow, where's it going with this? Oh, so she has the same infrastructure. The Clinton infrastructure is different. Newsom's got a different infrastructure. She's got the same infrastructure, and then we got to go back to likability. Now imagine, and I was just talking to my good friend Dave Benner. Do you guys know Dave Benner?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Great constitutionalist. You get along well with him. No longer in Minnesota. He's like you. He went to Tennessee.
Moved to Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Dave, if you're watching this and you need to refi your mortgage, John Galt Mortgage is officially licensed in the great state of Tennessee as of last
Just
week.
happened. Yeah, we talked about that on the show. So I said to Benner, I go, because he's a historian, I go, we just watched this mass delusion where people were saying this guy's all right, and everyone got to see last Thursday night, to the point where CNN's panel after the words was like, oh my God, he might have to leave this race, right? So this delusion got exploited, and I go, in modern day history, what can you think of? And he brought up a great example. I wouldn't say this is modern day, but he was talking about FDR and polio, and it was basically hidden from people. FDR died within I think weeks, if not months, of his fourth re-election. Back then, you actually
3 months.
Yeah. So there you go. So it's been basically 100 years since such a mass delusion has occurred at such high level, and we're seeing this thing play out. So I got to imagine a lot of voters are going to be freaking pissed off that this happened to them, that this big con happened to them. And so what are you going to put, a polarizing Gretchen Whitmer, a polarizing Gavin Newsom up there? Michelle Obama's had the easiest play here. The only reason I'm not 100% certain betting money on this, or Bitcoin, is because I don't know Michelle Obama. She might literally not want it. She might not want to be exposed as a dude. I'm sorry, just joking on that one. But she might not want the job, okay?
So
But if she did, it makes the most sense in the world, and all that's going to be coordinated at that August convention. Where am I wrong on this, Drew?
Well, I personally think it's going to be Gavin Newsom, and I think Obama's going to come back and be VP. I think that makes more sense than Michelle, because like you said, there's a lot of skeletons in the closet or the pants there, depending on how you look at it. And I don't know if they really want to put that out there. I mean, it might. I think it's going to take a cultural icon, somebody that's well known like an Obama, to beat a Trump.
Do you think but see, I would think the narcissism of Obama get in the way. Like, I've been president 2 terms, and I'm going to come back as Veep.
there's no way that's happening.
Yeah.
Obama.
Well,
was-
but he could be the reluctant hero who's like, to save our country, I will do this.
Correct. And that's what I think that. I mean, it could be Michelle. You never know. But I think.